The crowd in my front yard looked like they'd seen a magic trick. About 20 neighbors stood gaping, phones out, filming the spectacle. Spanning the water-filled trench that now cut my driveway off from the street was a fully functional drawbridge. Its polished oak planks gleamed under fresh sealant, lowering with a smooth mechanical hum. Across the moat, Karen Petton, president of the Maple Grove HOA, stared in horror, her face a mix of rage and disbelief. I gave her a cheerful wave from my side of the water, savoring the moment weeks in the making. This was the climax of the most absurd neighbor dispute I'd ever faced, and in a neighborhood ruled by Karen's HOA that was saying something. It all began 6 weeks earlier over a fence. I'd replaced the rotting one along my property line, keeping it exactly 6 feet tall per HOA rules. But Karen, strolling by during installation, decided the posts were too modern for our traditional neighborhood. I showed her the HOA handbook, which listed my fence style as approved. Her eyes narrowed, and she muttered about people who think they're above the rules. That was my first clue. Karen didn't take kindly to being corrected. As a retired middle school vice principal turned HOA president, Karen treated our quiet cul-de-sac like her personal fiefdom. She patrolled daily in her golf cart, measuring grass with a ruler and snapping photos of minor infractions. She once fined the Johnsons $75 because their trash cans lingered 30 minutes past the approved pickup window. A week after the fence dispute, I got an official HOA notice, printed on letterhead so formal it could have come from a courthouse. It claimed my driveway encroached 18 inches onto common area land, citing a 1972 easement. This was news to me. I'd lived here 5 years, with surveys from when I bought the house showing no such issue. The driveway had been there for decades. I tried reasoning with Karen at her office, a converted bedroom stuffed with filing cabinets and a desk fit for an interrogation room. She sat behind it like a judge, flanked by binders labeled with violation codes. I presented my survey, but she barely glanced at it before sliding over a highlighted copy of the HOA bylaws. Section 12, subsection C, paragraph 4, she said smugly. Encroachments on common areas must be remedied within 30 days, or the HOA can take corrective action. She leaned back, fingers steepled like a Bond villain. Your driveway's been in violation for years. Past boards overlooked it, but I run things differently. I explained that moving 18 inches of driveway would cost thousands for no practical purpose. The common area was just a grassy strip between my driveway and my neighbor's fence. Karen was unmoved. She gave me 30 days to submit a remediation plan or face enforcement action. Thought it was all talk. No one would make a fuss over 18 inches of asphalt that predated the neighborhood. I sent a formal response, drafted by my lawyer friend Ben, citing the statute of limitations. I figured that would end it. 3 weeks later, I came home to a nightmare. A jagged trench, 3 feet wide and 2 feet deep, ran across my driveway, 10 feet from my garage. Orange cones surrounded the mess, and my car sat stranded on the street's side. Excavator marks showed where the pavement had been ripped apart. My hand shook as I dialed Karen. She answered, her voice dripping with smugness. "Oh, hello, Tom. I see you've discovered our corrective action. Since you didn't submit a remediation plan, the board voted to remove the encroaching portion. You're welcome to repair your driveway once you submit proper plans. You tore up my driveway without warning." I shouted, my comm breaking. "This is destruction of property. I'm calling the police." "Feel free," she replied coolly. "I have documentation showing this is HOA common area. Have a pleasant evening." She hung up. I stood staring at the trench, rainwater pooling at the bottom. My neighbor Janet came out, shaking her head. "She's lost it," she said. "Last month, she fined me for having the wrong shade of beige on my mailbox post." The police officer who responded was sympathetic but unhelpful. Karen's documentation, however questionable, made this a civil matter. He suggested lawyering up, noting she should have given better notice, but criminal charges were unlikely without proof of damages beyond repair costs. That night, I pored over property layouts, HOA documents, and online research. Karen had made a critical mistake. By digging the trench, she created a water feature on HOA common area. Per the bylaws she loved quoting, residents could petition to improve or beautify common areas with board approval. A plan formed. If Karen wanted to play by the rules, I beat her at her own game. I filed a complaint with the HOA board about the trench's unsafe condition, then submitted a beautification proposal for the existing water feature on the common area next to my property. My proposal was meticulous, following every HOA guideline. While awaiting approval, I got quotes, not for driveway repairs, but for something bolder. I found a landscape architect specializing in water features and a contractor who'd built drawbridges for theme parks. Both were thrilled to help me stick it to an overzealous HOA president. The board, tired of Karen's antics, approved my proposal with little debate. They saw it as a way to curb her without direct confrontation. Karen was livid but trapped. She couldn't object without admitting her trench was an unsafe eyesore, opening her to liability. Construction started the next Monday. Workers widened the trench to a uniform 6 feet, shored up the sides, and lined it with elegant stonework. Karen watched from her golf cart, fuming, as her vindictive act transformed. By Wednesday, a circulation system kept the water fresh, and a small waterfall was added. Karen confronted me that evening, her face red with rage. "What do you think you're doing?" she demanded, gesturing at the construction zone. "Improving the common area water feature, as board approved," I replied, showing her the stamped form. "Since you started the excavation, I thought I'd complete the vision. The neighborhood deserves beautiful common areas, right?" She sputtered. "This is just a way to access your garage. It's a driveway modification, which requires different approvals." "It's a decorative bridge over a water feature," I corrected. "That it provides limited vehicular access is incidental. I have all permits, including engineering reports confirming safety standards." "Want to see them?" Karen stormed off, already on her phone, likely calling emergency meetings or scouring bylaws for violations. She found none. Ben had ensured everything was airtight. The drawbridge was unveiled the next week, a masterpiece of weather-treated oak with decorative iron railings. The lifting mechanism, operated by remote, was silent and rated for vehicles up to 10,000 pounds. The moat featured underwater LED lights, a soft blue glow at night, and aquatic plants. I was considering koi fish. It looked like it belonged in a luxury estate, not a suburban driveway. The neighborhood loved it. Kids begged to watch the bridge rise and fall. Neighbors asked if I could design their yards. The local news ran a segment, "Suburban Drawbridge Settles HOA Dispute in Style." At the next HOA meeting, Karen's meltdown was epic. She demanded the bridge's removal, calling it a medieval fortification and a mockery of HOA authority. She claimed it was unsafe, an eyesore, and a violation, but her papers yielded no evidence. Board member Richard Thompson, a retired contractor, laughed. "I've reviewed the engineering reports. That bridge is better built than most public infrastructure. It's increased property values with a unique landmark." Saracen agreed, moving to commend me for turning an unfortunate situation into a neighborhood attraction. Her grandkids called my house the castle. The vote was 4-1 against removal, with only Karen dissenting. The board then addressed complaints about Karen's unauthorized excavation and lack of notice. They voted unanimously to fine her personally, not the HOA, $8,000 for destroying private property and violating excavation permits. Her face drained of color. Her reputation as president was shattered, and she'd pay the fine herself. "This is a conspiracy," she shrieked, pointing at the board. "I'll sue you all." But her threats were hollow. The board censured her for abuse of power and scheduled a special election to replace her. As the gavel fell, Karen stood frozen, her petty empire crumbling. The news camera caught her humiliation, her car door slamming as she fled in defeat. The moat and drawbridge remain, a quirky landmark. Kids still stop by to watch it move, and neighbors joke about my castle. Karen's gone quiet, her golf cart retired. I've even added koi to the moat. Sometimes, the best way to fight petty tyranny is to lean into it, build a moat, raise a bridge, and let the neighborhood cheer.